I used to think nothing could surprise me anymore. I work in cybersecurity, the kind of job that teaches you early on that people will do anything, say anything, click anything, so long as it scratches the right itch. Fraud, child's play, social engineering, daily occurrence. But betrayal? Betrayal hits different when it isn't coming through a phishing email. It's coming from the other side of your king-sized bed. It started with the home assistant. We just upgraded the house. Full smart integration, motion lights, smart locks, biometric fridge, AI sync thermostat, and a home assistant powered by an open-source LLM I personally customized. It was meant to be a surprise for my wife, Lila. Something to make life smoother. More connected. Should have known better. The first red flag came wrapped in routine. Around 2:17 a.m., 3 nights in a row, my system pinged me about unknown Bluetooth devices connecting to our mesh network. I checked the logs, MAC addresses I didn't recognize. HTL_manager_X12 and Lila Pixel 7 guessed. The first one should have been obvious, but I missed it. Chalked it up to some background process from a nearby router or maybe one of the neighbors. I work late. Lila sleeps early. It was easy to let it slide. Until one night, I couldn't sleep. So I went full nerd and added logging scripts to the assistant. A quick patch, nothing major. Just a way to see what devices were being accessed, which commands were being issued, and if the system was running any background routines. Next morning, I scanned the logs over coffee. And there it was. Audio commands issued at 2:19 a.m. Set bedroom lights to red. Play soft jazz playlist. Disable hallway cameras. Lock master bedroom. Now that got my attention. I didn't confront her. That's the mistake amateurs make. I'm a professional. I started building a case like I was going to court or war. She worked in digital finance. We both did. Lila managed a crypto portfolio, nothing massive, but stable enough to make early retirement a possibility. She'd gotten good at DeFi. We even had a joint wallet, but she kept a private one, too. Just for fun, she said. So I got curious. And I got access. I wasn't going to snoop originally, just meant to transfer some ETH for a surprise vacation I was planning. But when I opened her personal wallet, the transactions didn't make sense. A series of outbound transfers, each to the same wallet tagged. MGR_48_Bay. 1 ETH. 2 ETH. Then 5. Then 7. Each spaced about a week apart. And the kicker? The memo fields. Room 412 again. Missed you yesterday. Keep it between us. I stared at those words for a long, long time. Then I checked the hotel's website. Bayline Suites. A boutique hotel 10 minutes from our house. Upscale. Discreet. It had smart keyless entry, which meant every room had logs. I booked a room. Not to stay, just to test the system. Then I did something Lila never thought I'd do. I accessed the cloud storage behind her login. The same one we used to manage our home camera backups. She'd linked it to her phone, and apparently to the hotel's smart system too. Inside, dozens of clips, night vision footage, hotel hallway cameras, footage from room 412's smart TV. One clip showed her letting in a man with salt and pepper hair and a name badge that, when zoomed, read, Liam, manager. I watched exactly 14 seconds before I closed it. Not out of emotion, out of calculation. That's when the revenge started. Because if you think I was going to storm and screaming, you don't know me. I wasn't going to burn everything down. I was going to build a fire so big they'd have to watch it burn from orbit. People always say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. It's best served calculated. Cold implies it's fueled by emotion that cooled down. But what I was about to do wasn't emotional. It was architectural. This wasn't a meal. This was engineering. And I was building from the ground up. The day after I confirmed everything, the hotel, the security footage, the Ethereum breadcrumbs, all of it, I booked myself a day off. Told Lila I was working remotely from our office's co-working space downtown. She didn't blink. She was texting someone when I told her. Probably Liam. Probably confirming which room to play house in this time. Instead of working, I went to the city's old startup incubator district, the kind of place filled with hopefuls, scammers, and the occasional genius. My people. I still had access to a prototype pitch room through an old dev friend. Glass walls, 12K projection screen, full livestream capabilities. Built for venture capital drama. Perfect for what I had in mind. I launched a shell company that afternoon. Registered through a Delaware LLC filing site under the name Spectre Chain Labs. sounded just flashy and scammy enough to be believable in the crypto world. I designed a logo using a generative AI tool, a simple ghost-shaped blockchain icon, and started building a fake pitch deck. I threw in just enough buzzwords to make a crypto bro sweat. Spectre Chain is the world's first adaptive smart trust protocol for anonymized transactional memory. No one would know what that meant, but it sounded like money. Then I created a fake CTO, Daniel Vess, built a full LinkedIn profile, added fake work history at Gemini, then Coinbase, hired a voice actor off Fiverr to record a 30-second intro, then deepfaked a headshot using one of those AI generator tools. White guy, dark glasses, startup hoodie, default tech founder. My next step? Find Liam. That part was stupidly easy. I knew what hotel he worked at. I knew his name. I called the front desk pretending to be a guest who lost contact with the manager during a refund issue. Said I was dealing with a sensitive matter and would rather speak with him directly than leave a review. Boom. Got his personal work email in under 2 minutes. Then I sent this. Subject, funding opportunity, Spectre Chain pilot launch. Hi Liam. Your hotel was highly recommended by one of our investors. Believe you met during the Web3 conference in Toronto. We're scouting venues for a low-key demo of our upcoming crypto protocol aimed at decentralized hospitality platforms. We're looking for someone with industry insight and discretion to provide us a location and moderate the demo. $2,500 appearance fee, full dinner comped, NDAs included. If you're interested, we can Zoom this week. Let me know availability. Best, Daniel Vess, CTO, Spectre Chain Labs. He responded in 28 minutes. He was very interested. Of course he was. He ran a mid-tier boutique hotel and thought crypto was his ticket out. Lila probably fed him enough digital lingo to make him believe he was some kind of Silicon Valley Casanova. We set the pitch date for 2 weeks out. Gave me just enough time to make sure everything, and I mean everything, would be perfect. The day before the launch, I set the final trap. I sent Lila a fake forwarded message, anonymously. A burner email with an address similar to Liam's hotel's domain. Hey, just a heads up, saw this going around. Looks like Liam's doing some kind of crypto demo. Didn't know you were into that kind of thing. Might be a fun surprise. M. Then attached a screenshot of the Spectre Chain flyer I'd made. That got her attention. I watched her glance at it on her phone that night in bed. She tilted the screen away, but I saw the blue logo reflected in her glasses. She didn't say a word, just locked the screen and kissed me goodnight. Textbook guilty behavior. On the day of the event, I dressed like a founder. Crisp black polo, dark jeans, and an ironic Patagonia vest. I arrived 2 hours early to set up the stage, double-check the stream, and, most importantly, sync the footage I'd collected into a timeline. Security cam clips, crypto wallet logs, even one late-night voice command where Lila whispered, "Keep your key card this time." All sliced together into a sharp 6-minute reel titled, "Transaction Confirmed." The plan was simple. Lure Liam on stage. Start the demo. Use the big screen to showcase transaction data. Then play the reel. Live. To an audience. And to her. Because here's the part one haven't mentioned yet. The stream link wasn't just going out to investors. I'd embedded it in an invite to Lila's best friend, Sophie. You know, the one who introduced her to Liam in the first place. Her college roommate, her maid of honor, and, as it turned out, Liam's wife. Yeah, Lila had been sleeping with her best friend's husband. Because of course she had. Sophie thought she was clicking a link to a Web3 tech demo. Instead, she was about to watch her marriage implode in 4K. Liam showed up early. Nervous. Wore a sport coat like this was Shark Tank. He introduced himself to Daniel Vess and shook my hand. I smiled and said, "Thanks for helping us out. You're going to be the centerpiece of something very important." He laughed like he had any clue what was coming. The stream went live at 6 p.m. sharp. We had about 300 viewers at launch, mostly bots I'd seeded into the stream to make it look viral. By 6:15, the room was full. Liam stood center stage, talking about the intersection of hospitality and crypto, absolutely vomiting buzzwords while I stood off camera, nodding like a proud tech bro. Then I stepped up to the mic. "Let's pull up the dashboard," I said. The screen blinked. The crypto charts disappeared. And instead, transaction confirmed. It started with the first transfer. 1 ETH. Cut to room 412, doors swinging open. Liam, stepping inside. Back to the crypto wallet. 5 ETH. Lila, laughing on the bed in night vision. Back to the memo fields. Missed you yesterday. Keep it between us. Final shot. Lila and Liam, side by side, kissing in the hallway. The timestamp, 3:12 a.m. Same night, she told me she had food poisoning. I didn't say a word. I just walked off stage. The silence in the room? I could have bottled it and sold it as revenge cologne. There's a certain kind of silence that only happens in moments of total exposure. A vacuum. Not the kind that follows a dramatic slap or a scream, but the deeper kind. The kind where your brain is still buffering the disaster it just witnessed, and the air feels thick enough to chew. That's the silence I walked into when I came off stage. No one clapped. No one coughed. Even the live stream chat, which had been filled with a cocktail of crypto hype, startup spam, and bored tech bros, froze mid-sentence like it had been flash frozen. On the stage, Liam was still staring at the screen like he thought maybe it would go away if he blinked hard enough. Poor guy. He'd come dressed like a disruptor, ready to pitch himself as the face of hotel meets blockchain innovation. Now he looked like someone had just projected his sins on an IMAX. I didn't stick around to watch him melt down in real time. I'd already seen enough of that man in night vision. What I wanted to see, what I'd spent 2 weeks engineering, was the look on her face. Lila, the woman I married. The woman who said, I do, and then quietly started using the guest Wi-Fi to cheat in high definition. She wasn't in the room, of course, but I knew she was watching. The live stream was embedded in an invite I'd sent to Sophie, her best friend, and until recently, Liam's wife. Sophie's name was on the RSVP list, and the access log showed someone had joined the stream using a device linked to Lila's Apple ID. And about 4 minutes into transaction confirmed, that device disconnected. Hard. I imagine the scene. Lila watching on Sophie's couch, both of them leaning in as the demo began, wine in hand, probably rolling their eyes at the crypto jargon. Then that first transfer pops on screen. The room number, the video, the timestamp. Liam, her husband. Lila, her best friend. In a boutique hotel suite. On repeat. Sophie didn't need to say anything. Didn't need to scream or cry. All she had to do was look at Lila. Really look, and watch her crumble. Back in the demo hall, things were unraveling fast. Liam finally broke his paralysis. He stuttered something about deep fakes and hacked footage, then made the mistake of grabbing the mic and yelling, "This is illegal. This is defamation." Security moved toward him like they'd rehearsed it. I stayed out of it. Let the staff handle the drama. I wasn't going to waste one more second cleaning up that man's mess. The live stream cut to a logo loop. My logo. Spectre chain. Tagline. Some chains are meant to break. I couldn't help but smirk at the irony. 10 minutes later, I was in my car, cruising down the freeway with the windows cracked. I didn't go home. I didn't go to the office. I drove to a rest stop an hour out of town and sat under a sodium light in the parking lot, watching moths throw themselves into it like they had something to prove. That's when the calls started. Lila first. For back-to-back missed calls. Then a voicemail. I didn't listen. Then came the texts. Lila, what did you do? Lila, where are you? Lila, I need to explain. Please don't do anything else. Please. Then, a final one. Lila, you destroyed everything. Not just for me. For all of us. That last one made me laugh. All of us. As if this was some unfortunate accident, some shared loss. Like we were all just collateral damage in a little romantic oopsie. But let's be clear, this wasn't collateral. This was calculated. And not by me. See, the deeper I dug into Lila's crypto wallet, the more I realized this wasn't just an affair. This was structured fraud. Not from her, specifically, but Liam. He wasn't just a hotel manager with a side piece. He'd been running a kind of intimate investor scam. A soft con. He'd gotten at least 3 other women to send him crypto over the past 2 years. Same wallet pattern, same aliases. Just enough money to stay quiet. Just enough charm to keep the act running. Lila was just one of the newer marks. Or maybe she thought she was in on it. Maybe she believed she was smarter than the other women. Maybe she thought she could ride the wave until it crashed, then slither out without getting wet. Either way, she picked the wrong guy to betray. And the wrong guy to trust. I made a copy of everything. Every transfer. Every receipt. Every message. Then I packaged it into a folder labeled Exit Wallet and dropped it in an encrypted drive. Not for police. Not yet. That part would come later. First, I had to make a decision. What came next? I could go public, leak the scam, destroy Liam fully, expose Lila as a co-conspirator or a clueless fool, depending on what angle I preferred. Turn the story into a podcast, a blog series, maybe even a cautionary Netflix tale. Or I could disappear, cash out what was left in our joint wallet, freeze the accounts, file for divorce, and move somewhere with fewer Bluetooth devices. I stared at the sky above the rest stop, blank and blinding. And I realized I wasn't tired. I was ready. So I chose a third option. Reinvention. I went home that night and did 4 things in order. Changed every password. Personal, financial, legal, all of it. Withdrew 60% of our joint holdings in stablecoins and converted it to fiat. Scheduled a call with a divorce lawyer who specialized in digital asset litigation. Left a USB on the kitchen counter with a single file, the full livestream recording, edited clean, and titled, Your Portfolio of Lies. I was gone before Lila got home. No note. No confrontation. Just silence. Because some truths don't need to be screamed. They just need to be watched. You know what's funny? People always assume the worst part of betrayal is the moment you find out. That ice water down your spine realization. But for me, that was the easy part. That was clean. Clinical. An event. No. The worst part came later. After the live stream. After the lies collapsed. After Lila realized the truth wasn't just out. It was monetized. See, what no one counted on, especially not her, was how quickly the story would grow legs once it hit the right ears. It started as a whisper. A few screenshots of the Spectre chain pitch circulating in crypto Twitter circles. Some tech bros calling it performance art. Others debating whether it was a real protocol or a psychological warfare piece. Then someone tracked down the livestream. It had been archived by one of those blockchain watchdog accounts who scrape anything labeled crypto startup in real time. The moment they clipped transaction confirmed and posted it with the caption, Bro exposed wife's affair plus financial scam live during a fake crypto demo. Absolute carnage. 10 out of 10. It exploded. Overnight, it hit 3.2 million views. By morning, hashtag Spectre scam was trending. And by the end of the day, so was Lila's name. Not because I said it. I never did. I was careful. Smart. I didn't want legal smoke, just exposure. But the internet is a nosy beast. They pieced it together from the clues, a hotel location tagged in a still frame, LinkedIn connections, a crypto wallet handle reused on Reddit 2 years ago by none other than Lila herself. They found her. They always do. And once they did, they didn't hold back. They weren't cruel. At least, not all of them. But they were relentless. Her Twitter was nuked by lunchtime. Her Medium blog, yeah, she ran one, was flooded with comments like, maybe write about fidelity next, and can't wait for your next piece on ethical investing upside down faced. Someone even created a meme account just for her, at Wallet and Wife. Every post a new joke about crypto, trust, and why hotel room 412 should be declared a crime scene. And the messages I got? Absolutely unhinged. DM from some guy named Jules_FT Shaman. Bro, this was next level savage. You just soloed the entire Web3 community. Respect. An email from a woman in Berlin. My ex did something similar. Thank you for proving we're not crazy when we suspect something. You're a hero. Even one from a lawyer. If you ever want representation for IP rights when this inevitably becomes a docuseries, call me. All while Lila was still trying to play clean up in a house made of gasoline. She tried calling again, of course. 5 voicemails in 2 days. The last one wasn't a plea, it was a threat. Said she'd sue for defamation by implication. That I'd orchestrated a campaign of harassment. I just forwarded the message to my lawyer and added a smiley face. The real kicker, though? Sophie. Remember her? Lila's best friend. Maid of honor. The one whose husband had been playing late-night ledger balancing with mine. She DM'd me 2 days after the live stream. No greeting. No anger. Just, Sophie. I watched it twice. I threw his stuff out after the first time. I burned it after the second. Then, Sophie. Thank you. I didn't reply. Not because I didn't appreciate it. I did. But because we both knew what that moment meant. There was no friendship here, no alliance. Just mutual devastation neatly divided across 2 households. She was moving through her storm. I was already past mine. But the storm? It wasn't done with Lila. Because the thing about a digital reputation is, it's not just about getting dragged. It's about who sees it. And unfortunately for her, one of the people who saw it was her boss. Lila worked for a boutique financial analytics firm that dealt exclusively in high-trust clients. Old money, institutional wealth, private capital that ran on reputation and discretion. The kind of clientele who don't care about your skills if you're the face of a viral scandal involving infidelity, crypto laundering, and a boutique hotel with a 3.9 rating on Yelp. They fired her within 48 hours. I didn't hear it from her. I saw it on LinkedIn. Her employment status quietly switched to seeking new opportunities. Not long after that, I got an email from her new attorney. Subject: Proposal for Equitable Division, Harrow Estate. Oh, so now she wanted to talk about fairness. The irony almost made me choke on my coffee. She wanted the apartment sold, wanted a clean split of the assets, said she had no interest in dragging things out. The email ended with this gem: Let's be adults and resolve this without further escalation. Right. Adults. That's what we are now. I passed it to my attorney and told him one thing: no settlement until the footage is part of the record. He blinked. You mean you want to submit the live stream as evidence? No, I said. I want her to know it could be. I want her to feel it sitting in the folder, labeled Exhibit A, every time she opens the file. That's not leverage. That's justice. We didn't hear back for a week. When we did, she folded, gave up her half of the apartment, walked away from the joint investments, tried to hold on to the car, which I found hilarious because it was leased under my name and she'd already been 2 payments late. I let her keep it, let her figure out the repo notice on her own time. I never raised my voice, never confronted her in person, never even sent a message. Because silence? It's louder than any scream. And as the dust started to settle, the offers rolled in. Streaming rights, podcast adaptations. One studio even wanted to buy the character of Daniel Vess, the fake CTO I'd made up for Spectre Chain. The man who never existed was about to become a franchise. And me? I kept my real name out of all of it. Let the fake founder take the heat. Let the avatar wear the crown. The payout still came to my bank account, and the royalties would keep rolling long after the memes died. I'd moved out of the apartment by then. Traded smart locks and cloud cameras for something simpler. An old craftsman house in the woods with a mechanical thermostat and locks that turn with a key. No Bluetooth. No smart fridge. No surprises. Just me, my equipment, and a notebook labeled Stories They'll Never See Coming. Because after everything, there was one thing I knew for sure. People lie. But data? Data doesn't. There's a phrase in cybersecurity: zero trust. It's a model where you assume no one, no device, no login, no user is safe just because they're inside the system. Trust is not a default. It's something earned, verified, and logged. I didn't live like that before. But now, I live like every person is a compromised node. Especially the ones who say, you can trust me. So here we are, months after the live stream. The headlines have cooled down, the memes have faded, and the internet's collective rage has moved on to newer scandals. Liam has all but disappeared from public life. He deactivated every social profile, and last I heard through a friend of a friend, his hotel quietly let him go for restructuring purposes. Corporate speak for, we don't want guests asking about room 412. Lila? She went dark too. Stopped posting. Dropped off social. Even Sophie cut ties with her. I heard from one of Lila's former co-workers that she tried to job hunt out of state, but every interview ended with a polite, we'll be in touch. Which we both know means, we Googled you. But here's the thing about going dark. It makes people think you vanished. It also makes them sloppy. Because one night, I got a ping. An old notification script I'd written back when Lila and I first synced our devices sent a passive flag. An old wallet address from her device had suddenly lit up. Not with money, but movement. Activity. Someone accessing stored files, likely migrating her data to a new drive. Curious, I traced the digital trail. It was subtle. She'd been using a VPN, sure, but I've cracked government-grade encryption. Lila using a VPN Chrome extension was like bringing a plastic fork to a knife fight. Within an hour, I had it. A cloud directory. Newer. Cleaner. Set up after the live stream fallout. And inside, a folder named Archive, Personal. Buried within that folder was a video file labeled June_confession.mp4. I downloaded it, opened it, and sat there in the dark of my new house, watching the ghost of a marriage flicker across my screen. The footage was grainy. A selfie video, clearly recorded in a hotel bathroom. The one with those dim yellow lights that make everyone look tired and 20 years older. Lila was sitting on the edge of the tub, hair pulled back, mascara already halfway down her cheekbones. She looked wrecked, but not from guilt, from loss. "I don't know why I'm recording this," she started, voice low and shaking. "Maybe because I know you'll find it. You always find everything." She laughed, just once, and it sounded like someone choking on irony. "I didn't mean to fall for him. That sounds like a cliché, I know. But I didn't. It started as a distraction. A game. He flirted. I played along. It felt harmless. I didn't think I'd actually do anything. Not at first." She looked down, then back up at the camera. "But I was angry. I was angry all the time. At you. At how good you were at everything. At how together you seemed. You never yelled. You never cracked. Even when you were tired, you were composed. I felt like a disaster next to you." Another pause. She wiped her eyes. "And then he told me I was smart. That I had potential. That we could do something together. Build something. It wasn't just the intimacy. It was the story. He made me feel like the main character. And I needed that." That sentence hit hard. Not because I didn't believe her, but because I knew it was true. She didn't betray me for the money. She betrayed me for the narrative. She wanted to feel important, in control, desired. And Liam, scammer, fraud, charismatic leech that he was, fed her the story she wanted. Until she believed it. She leaned forward in the video, eyes glassy. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know I blew up everything. But I just want you to know, there was a version of me that loved you. That version still exists somewhere. Maybe buried, maybe broken, but real." The video ended with her wiping her face and whispering, "I hope you find peace, Jonah, even if I'm not in it." I stared at the screen long after it faded to black. Not because I missed her, but because she'd just given me the missing piece of the puzzle. See, up until now, I thought I'd seen everything. The infidelity, the lies, the cover-up. I'd dismantled it all, exposed every layer, set fire to the foundation. But this wasn't a confession. It was a eulogy, not for the marriage, but for the person she used to be. And as cold as it sounds, I didn't feel pity. I felt confirmation. Because people like Lila think they're writers in someone else's book. They narrate, manipulate, edit scenes in their head until they believe their own lies. But me? I don't write fiction. I just record what's already there. That night, I backed up the video, encrypted it, and stored it with everything else. Not for release. Not for leverage. For memory. Because one day, I'll tell this story. Maybe not as Jonah. Maybe not as the guy who exposed his cheating wife on a live stream. Maybe just as a warning. A parable. A blueprint. And I'll start it with the same line I say every time someone asks how I figured it all out. It started with a Bluetooth ping. You don't really notice when the noise finally stops. Not at first. It fades so slowly, tweet by tweet, headline by headline, that you almost miss the moment it goes quiet. One day your name's on fire across 5 subreddits, and the next, it's replaced by a billionaire's yacht scandal or some influencer's secret second family. That's the internet for you. It always moves on. It always forgets. But I didn't want them to forget. Not entirely. I just wanted them to remember for the right reasons. It had been 5 months since the live stream. 4 since Lila lost her job. 3 since the divorce was finalized. We didn't speak through any of it. Not in person. Not through lawyers. Not even through texts. Just cold signatures, secure file exchanges, and the sound of everything we built being split down the middle with surgical detachment. The apartment sold above asking. The crypto wallet was divided cleanly, thanks to my meticulous documentation. The rest? Gone. Burned out like bad code. After everything, I moved twice. First to the cabin in the woods, then back to the city. Not our old suburb, but downtown, closer to anonymity. A place where you could walk into a coffee shop, order something overpriced, and not have to worry about seeing a ghost from your last life sipping a cappuccino in the corner. That's where I started building again. Not a new marriage. Not yet. But a new platform. A story studio. It was small at first. Just me, my mic, and a few encrypted drives of archived material. Not just the live stream fallout, but everything. The rise, the collapse, the aftermath. I called it White Noise, a podcast series about digital betrayal, high-tech fraud, and the kind of lies you can only catch with good software and better instincts. Episode 1. Room 412. I didn't mention names. Didn't need to. Anyone who knew, already knew. The rest just saw it as an urban legend. A dark tech fairy tale. It exploded. 500,000 downloads in the first week. 3 licensing offers before episode 2 even dropped. One from a streaming platform I can't name. But let's just say they've done multiple shows about ruthless men with microphones. That's when the real twist showed up. Not in the comments. Not in the DMs. In the mail. A handwritten letter. No return address. No postage. Just dropped into my mailbox, like someone had come to the building themselves. Folded neatly inside a legal envelope, on heavy, expensive paper. The kind corporate firms use when they're about to declare war. At first I assumed it was from Lila. Maybe an appeal. Maybe a threat. But it wasn't. It was from Sophie. 3 pages. All handwritten. The first line? I wasn't going to write this. I thought I'd moved on. But you should know what really happened after that night. I read it in full. Twice. Then a third time, slowly. She told me about the stream. About watching it from her apartment. About how Lila had been staying with her that week, saying she needed space to think things through. She didn't know, of course. Not until the footage rolled. Not until the moment she saw her husband, Liam, step into that room. Sophie had been in the middle of sipping wine when it happened. Dropped the glass. It shattered. Lila just sat there, frozen, eyes locked on the screen like a kid watching her life short-circuit in real time. Sophie didn't scream. Didn't cry. She just got up, walked to the hallway closet, and pulled out Liam's things, what little he had left at her place, and threw it down the trash chute. Lila tried to explain. Of course she did. It wasn't like that. I was confused. I never meant for you to find out. Sophie didn't answer her. She said she just looked her dead in the eye and said, "You're not confused. You're just not the protagonist anymore." That was the last thing she ever said to her. Lila left that night. Disappeared into some Airbnb. Maybe another city. No one really knew. Sophie changed her locks, blocked her number, and this is what got me. She started recording. Not out of revenge. Out of survival. She turned her own trauma into something tangible. A podcast. A blog. A talk at a local university about emotional cyber abuse, manipulation, and the hidden costs of trust in a digital age. I hadn't heard about it because she'd published under a pseudonym. But that night, she told me her real name was starting to show up again. Not for the scandal. For the work. And then she said this. You didn't just ruin them. You reminded people that silence isn't safety. That sometimes, the quiet ones are just waiting to hit record. I closed the letter. Set it down on my desk. And for the first time in months, I exhaled. Not because I felt victorious. Because I felt done. There were no more cards to play. No more traps to set. I'd said what I needed to say. Exposed what needed to be seen. And now, the rest could burn or fade or rebuild. None of it was my problem anymore. I stepped outside. It was late. Cold. The kind of night that smells like static and feels like closure. And as I stood there, watching the lights of the city blink like dying servers, I realized something. This wasn't the end of the story. It was just the end of this chapter. And me? I wasn't the villain. I wasn't the victim. I wasn't even the hero. I was the narrator. And that made me unstoppable. Because when everyone else is still trying to decide whose side they're on, I'm already writing the next episode. Subscribe to the channel